This is how to get GLP-1 results without the shot. Wouldn't that be nice? Isn't that nice? I want to, from the get-go, say that I have no negative feelings about people using GLP-1s or anything like that. I just, as with supplements, I appreciate intentionality. And so what I'm going to share in today's session is for people who are trying to avoid GLP-1s, but want to get those results without the shots. But I just want to be clear from the get-go. If you are on a GLP-1, the information I am sharing tonight is equally as valuable and helpful to you, because getting lifestyle factors in place is really the key to maintaining and continuing with your results, right? And mitigating any negativity that might be happening after you get off them if you try to do that. So that's what we're about. And I just wanted to say that right off the bat, this is a really a safe space. This is just, I am all about just helping to lift lives any way I can. And I'm really going to just kind of crack open my best strategies for you guys and try to nail it down. So the goal of today's training is to learn how GLP-1s work. These words get thrown around a lot, and I really want you to understand what they are and what they do. I want you to super understand how stress undermines hormones like GLP-1 and what's happening when you choose to take a medication to help with that, and then what you really, really need to do so that you stand a chance of getting off that medication and making sure that you can keep your results. People talk a lot about the food side of things or exercise, and honestly, stress is the third pillar in all of my programs. It honestly is the secret sauce, our stress management strategies. And some people here are people in my programs that obviously just can't get enough of listening to me. Thank you so much. But they'll tell you, they know that I really work on that with everybody individually in the program. And the other thing we're going to share today is food and exercise strategies to support GLP production, increase insulin sensitivity. That is the name of the game, my friends, and reduce food noise. And you can do this without medication. And if you do those things, you can get results just like you see people getting with GLP-1s, and just as kind of easily as you see people getting on GLP-1s, but without some of the negative side effects that they have to deal with. We are going to talk about what I call your hormonal scorecard in a sense, okay? And how your capability works against you. Everybody who finds me is a doer. Everybody who finds me is usually a very highly educated, super smart, busy professional. That's our prototype. So I don't really attract anybody who's a dingling, quite frankly. And I know all of you know a fair amount about nutrition, about exercise. You've been doing all the things. And okay, basic differences between, healthy and not healthy, that kind of a thing, right? People here are not guzzling a Coca-Cola every day and thinking that high fructose corn syrup isn't going to have an effect after a while. That's not my crowd, right? You guys already know this. So we're going to talk today about how you being such a capable doer can work against you in terms of weight loss. And for some of you who are stuck, this is going to be a factor that you're not considering in your weight loss journey. It can be really helpful just in and of itself. We are going to talk about how and why healthy food doesn't always equal fat loss. And everybody in my program knows we have certain parameters we start with people because they just work better. And I will explain why. We're going to talk about why strength workouts that you're hearing about, heavy weights, don't always equal fat loss. You have to strategize exercise for your goal. And we're going to talk about why the concept of willpower works against you. So whether or not you're going the GLP-1 route because you just needed that to shut off. Like nobody wants to white knuckle it anymore. Nobody here is going to have to white knuckle it with the suggestions I'm giving you, because I do not believe in eliminating any foods whatsoever. I think it's unsustainable. And so we actually embrace social foods in my approach and everything I talk about today. We're going to talk about what actually works now, strategize foods. And I am going to literally give you a list, like get your pen and paper, of top foods that you can use to increase GLP-1 naturally, and why you might do that. Just because it says GLP-1, you might not have the issue that solves. You might not need these foods. Like, wouldn't that be interesting to learn? We're going to talk about how short targeted workouts really are the name of the game for certain populations. And I would argue for everybody, but especially for certain populations. And we're going to talk about nervous system recalibration, which is so important. So my friends, if you have ever said, I know what to do, I've done it before, my body's just not responding, I feel you. Everybody who comes to me, literally every single person, that's their story. I told you, you guys all know. And then you get to the place of like, you can read, you just don't feel like, even trying or blaming yourself anymore. It's an exhausting, hamster wheel you're on. And that's what I want to get you out of, like, right now. Okay. So here we go. Why should you even listen to me at all? I know you all found me, and either you've been following me for a while and got an email, or you saw me on socials and you just thought she makes sense. I really want you to know I come at this at such a humble place. I truly have been in the position of feeling like I did not know what to do with my body. I never, ever, ever expected to be in this position. I went to NYU for acting. I only got into this field literally by accident. I had an accident at 19, and I just decided I would start going to fitness studios to feel strong again. Anyway, I wasn't supposed to be this. I was supposed to be a star. See, that's a movie poster, and you see everybody on the movie poster looking over at me on the side there. That's because I'm the star of that movie. And down right below me is Desi Lydic. She is one of the stars of oh my gosh, The Daily Show. That's menopause brain. It's real. So we can all just bond over that moment together. Anyway, that's Mike Farrell from MASH. And yeah, I really thought this would be the one that like set my career on fire. Sonia Morel, who is here, was actually at the Philadelphia show of that. I saw somebody else from Philly here. That movie played all over, but it did not light my career on fire. I turned to writing, and this is actually a top 10 movie I had on Netflix last year that I wrote. I'm the only writer. So like, I did do some stuff. This is what I thought I'd be doing, but really, I used fitness to feel better after that accident I had. I taught myself to teach, and I really enjoyed it, but it was such a sideline in my life. And what was really interesting, and this is what relates to you, is that I spent the first 16 years of my career doing everything you and everybody else here thinks they needed to do to, lose weight and be fit. And everybody here has done it, where you've definitely restricted food, or you've counted calories or macros, or you did the grueling workouts, that kind of stuff. This is what I learned. I mean, I'm 53, so this was 1993. I think I got my first certificate. No, yeah, I don't know, 112 years ago. Anyway, it was rough. And what happened is I gained 25 pounds doing all the right things. I can't make the air quotes flap hard enough on that. It was horrible. What I did, and this is all that TikTok advice about heavy weights that you're hearing. If you have a layer of flab and you are just pounding heavy weights at it, and you are working out for calorie burn, we're going to get into this later. You're going to do what I did, which is blow up this muscle underneath, layer of flab that doesn't go. You're going to kind of feel like you're doubling in size and feel like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I'm really dating myself with a Ghostbusters reference, aren't I? Oh my God. It was bad. It was bad. And it's just bad strategy is what it was. And I'm going to help you with that tonight. It was really terrible. This was the first time in my life I really experienced imposter syndrome, where I am very gifted with exercise and very creative exercise, and people would come and, you know, I have good energy and fun and whatever. But honestly, I was dying inside because people were paying a lot of money to train with me and do my classes. And I knew I couldn't even get myself to where I wanted to be. I white knuckled it back to a certain place by age 33, but I stayed there for a long time, just struggling. And finally, one day I had this celebrity client coming in, and I was like, I remember staring at the wall above my laptop like I am now and going, this doesn't work. I was making the calories in and calories out equation for this guy. And I'm like, this does not work. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for anybody. And so what I decided to do was blow it up. I just went, okay. And I was going to guinea pig myself on essentially the opposite. And, well, I turned into that and that and that. This is not too long ago. I'm 53 years old. I have had 2 children with this body, and I have Hashimoto's, believe it or not. It's just the way I live, which is what I'm going to share with you tonight. Is I'm extremely asymptomatic. I am almost through, I don't know. I keep thinking I'm in menopause and I keep getting surprises. But I'm almost there, right? So anyway, but this is my life now. I never expected this. I do a lot of TV. I do, I'm, you know, a lot of shows. I do a lot of magazine interviews and stuff like that. And you guys see me all over Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. I'm about to start a podcast. You know, I mean, and I do speaking like down there. That's me with the senior leadership of the Coast Guard. That was really interesting. Just trying to teach anybody who will listen these very easy strategies to be in your best energy and feel awesome, especially when you have high pressure lifestyles. And a high pressure lifestyle, by the way, doesn't have to mean that, you know, you're, you know, giving closing arguments in a trial, you know, like it's just that it could be that you are a working parent with a to-do list that is so long for work and for home, or it could be just anything, right? So it's just the idea of what is loaded onto our plate or what's loaded up in our mind that is making this busier than it needs to be. GLP-1s, get out your pen and paper. Let's do this. How do they work? What do they do? So GLP-1s are hormones inside your own body, in the gastrointestinal tract, in the colon, and in the colon. And when you eat, they're released. What they do is that they stimulate the release of insulin. They inhibit glucagon, which is a hormone that raises blood sugar. So if your blood sugar is higher, then your body is not going to go find food. You get the idea. When your blood sugar is low, you're signaled, find food, find food. They slow gastric emptying. That means food stays in your stomach longer. They are cued by food intake, especially carbohydrates and fats, and or just the activity of microbes in your gut and signals from your brain. So what does this mean to you? They suppress your appetite because they make you feel full sooner and longer. The GLP-1s reduce spikes in blood sugar and literally shut off food cravings. So these are 2 different functions, but your brain is, because the blood sugar is not spiking, the brain is not receiving signals that you are low on, you know, glucose and that we need to go find food. So that signaling just literally shuts off. So somebody on a GLP-1 can sit in front of their favorite chocolate cake and be like, nah, all right, we want you to be able to do that actually, honestly, naturally. It improves insulin sensitivity. I cannot highlight this enough. This is the name of the game. And that is what, well, I might as well explain this right now. I was going to explain it later, but I just want to explain it right now. Here's how your metabolism works. So when you eat food, your body shoots out insulin to pull the glucose from your bloodstream into your muscles. That's like what it does. When you are insulin sensitive, you're really good at it. The receptors are like, boop, and then insulin goes away. And what happens? You go back to fat burning. That is your main fuel system. We're all burning fat right now. That's the name of the game, not, restricting calories so much or worrying about calorie burn or that kind of stuff. The name of the game is how sensitive are you to insulin and how efficient is your metabolism because of that. And this is one of the main things that GLP-1s very successfully improve for people. Here is the challenge. GLP-1s will absolutely, during the time you're using them, create fat loss and help with blood sugar regulation, deal with just all sorts of issues, right? It's all yes, 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 yeses, except for, rewiring your gut-brain pathways, which, your gut and your brain really do have to be in a good conversation together. That's pretty much the only thing that you kind of got to go, not so much. Also, they don't improve digestion elimination. That is actually one of the problems in them. But after GLP-1s, you can see on that list, that food noise comes back with a vengeance. That problem is not solved. Improved muscle definition, absolutely not. In fact, you are losing 25 to 40% muscle on a GLP-1. Why is this significant? Now, when people have a lot of weight to lose, they will lose some muscle. So we don't want to just go like blanket statement, you can't lose muscle, blah, blah. No, like if you've been carrying around 25, 30% more body weight than you need, you have muscle developed to be able to do that. Like you will lose some muscle commensurately with fat loss. That would be correct. And you're going to end up at a place where you have the right amount of muscle to support your body and move you around. It will be less than what you needed before, and that would be okay. That's not going to affect longevity or your bones. It's all your body staying in balance. It's all good. The problem is that it lowers your baseline metabolism. So the presumption is if you use lifestyle factors as you were losing this muscle, you're all fine because you're not dealing with food cravings or a slow digestion. Like what happens when we lose a lot of muscle, our baseline metabolism plummets. If you are losing fat and you're losing muscle at the same time with lifestyle factors, your metabolism stayed on fire the whole time. You did this because of that, not because you were shutting off, you were squeezing calories so low or something like that, something sort of artificial. You weren't messing with your energy systems to be able to force a result on a scale. I hope that distinction is clear. So you can read the chart in depth. I hope you can see it. But this is why, even if you're on a GLP-1, you really do need to get these lifestyle factors in place. So your brain is going to work for you. So your hormones are going to support you to continue on your journey successfully. Okay, here we go. Now, this is the interesting piece for all these doers here. Your capability can really undermine your health and well-being goals. So stress hormones, this is what a lot of people are not taking into consideration, and this is massive. Without getting into it too big on this one, when we are faced with challenges or circumstances we didn't choose, our brain has a default. It is either going to default to a mindset that is about abundance and plenty and, safety and like, it's all good. We'll just see how it works out. Most of us don't default that place. You have to grow that. What happens is for most of us that we default to a place where our brain starts to protect us and starts to spin in what might go wrong and then trying to mitigate that and mitigate against that, right? So this amygdala of your brain is the protective place. This is the center that is only set off by one of two things. It's either scarcity or it's threat. Scarcity is, in this day and age, I'm not going to have enough time. I'm not going to have enough energy. I'm going to run out of funds, or I'm going to miss out on something. So think. And so let's just apply this concept to diets. A diet will work for you for a minute because it's creating an identity that is shooting out dopamine for you. We get dopamine, you know, our happy hormone, from achievement, right? So for a minute, that identity, and I am doing this thing and I'm showing up for it. Check, 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 check. You're actually getting dopamine like all that time until life happens and you can't keep up with it because you didn't have enough time to prepare all the foods and do the meal prep and do the blah, 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 blah. And then actually, or it's that you've had to say no thank you too many times, too many social occasions where you see other people enjoying themselves and you got, you know, you're just a little salad or something like that. And you disconnected. We are hardwired for connection. So one of the reasons diets don't work is because they disconnect us from other people over food, which is our number one way of bonding with people, pretty much our number one way when you think about it. And they create an identity that is outside of that. And then when it no longer fits, not only does it trigger this scarcity effect that you're missing out and that you can't have this, or that you're not going to be satisfied with the small amount you're giving yourself, it also is a threat to your ego. You know, that threat is really to our ego that we're going to fail. And nobody here is a failing type of person. Everybody that follows me tends to be a high achiever. Yes, this is recorded. So, you know, failure feels really bad to us, just as bad as if, you know, circumstantially something went wrong. That is a stress response in the body. All of these things are going to make the brain want to protect us. And all of these things are going to cause the amygdala to start activating. And what does it do? It signals to your adrenal glands, start shooting out adrenaline and cortisol. Cortisol, you know, you hear cortisol makes fat. How does this happen? The short answer is insulin is the balance for cortisol. The more cortisol that gets shot out, the more insulin is sent out to balance it. This is part of what causes insulin sensitivity to go down, because their body is just getting numb to insulin. It's just breaking the receptors. It just doesn't, it's not working anymore. It just takes more and more and more to it, right? The body's just like, whatever, insulin. And let's please remember, if insulin is out, what is not being used as a fuel system? Anyone? Bueller. Bueller. Fat. Fat cannot be used for fuel when you have insulin out. So anybody with a chronically high stress level that this brain is protecting you, low level all day, every day. And what's the number one thing that's triggering our stress level right now? This phone, scrolling, all ads, all news, designed to keep you on it for longer by creating a sense of scarcity or threat. You're not enough, right? So between your life, between all your to-dos, between your hopes and dreams and fears that have, you know, like a little place in there and are always bouncing around, then you have the phone triggering you all day long. And then if you're in perimenopause or menopause or have thyroid or Hashimoto's or anything else going on, oh my goodness, perfect storm. So don't blame yourself. So this is why it's really important to get this in gear. Highly capable people, getting to the title of this slide, don't feel stress. We don't feel it the same way. You're just like, oh, I got it. Yeah, I already have too much to do, but you know what? I can handle that for you too. Because our identity is so wrapped up in our capability. We feel good. We get dopamine from taking more on. We thrive on pressure. We thrive on being the one everybody turns to have the answers. And sometimes we have them and sometimes we don't, right? But we want to help. Well, guess what? That is a low-lying level of stress right there. That is low level, that's an elevated level actually of cortisol compared to somebody else. That is just baseline for you, right? And then you add adrenaline to the mix. What does adrenaline do? It fuels soothing behaviors. So you have all this adrenaline that's keeping you going all day because your blood sugar is probably not level. Many people in this community skip meals or they're not eating enough. Your blood sugar is, and what happens when the blood sugar drops? Your brain is saying, go get more, right? I mean, oh my gosh, you see this perfect storm that's happening. Yeah. So the problem is when you're super capable, you can actually go really hard and really long. and you like it. You thrive at that level, that frequency. So you don't necessarily understand that your body's paying for it. And when we all start to see that middle section coming, when we see this weight packing on around here, I promise you, it's not just some midlife thing you have to accept. It is years and years and years of this weight. And so we have to address it together. I hope that all makes sense. Why do GLP-1s work? The little line at the bottom. It masks all of this instead of addressing it. And that's why when you go off, all this stuff comes back with a vengeance too, as well as the binge eating, the sugar cravings, because the adrenaline at night when you don't have any more work to do and you get home and you need to relax, well, it's going to tell you, go find food because we want to chew. Chewing is your fastest pathway to rest and digest. We learned it the second we were born. Nursing right away, pacifiers. The vagus nerve attachment in the jaw is what immediately tells the central nervous system. That's why you want to, kind of, you've ate your dinner, but you just keep finding things to eat, even though you're not even really hungry and you keep eating and eating. It's a stress response. You need more tools in your toolbox so you don't need to do that. Okay, let's talk about some strategy for what you can do to mitigate all of this. All right, healthy food doesn't always equal fat loss, right?